The ash still hung thick in the air, settling slowly over the bones of the battlefield like a shroud. I stood alone on the jagged outcrop that overlooked the scarred plains of Ashara, the land I called home and yet felt so estranged from. The sky above was a bruised canvas of fading light, streaked with smoke, the silhouettes of serpents still tracing slow, mournful circles high above. Each shadowed shape was a reminder of what we had fought for and what had been lost. My chest tightened, the weight of victory and sacrifice pressing down like the heat from the ever-burning volcanoes. It was quiet here, but the silence was not peace. The echoes of battle whispered in the wind, carried by the scent of scorched earth and singed scales. I closed my eyes, letting the memory of the fight wash over me, the roar of serpents, the clash of weapons, the screams of friends and foes alike. The rare serpent beside me shifted, its scales glinting faintly in the dying light, a steady warmth against my side. It was a comfort I hadn't known I needed. Turning away from the vista, I made my way back to the heart of the camp where the tribe gathered in the fire circle. Flames flickered wildly, casting dancing shadows across faces both weary and watchful. Lyra was there, her sharp green eyes catching mine as she rose to meet me. The air between us was charged with the residue of battle and the unspoken words that lingered in its aftermath. She approached, her hands reaching out instinctively to the cuts and bruises that marred my arm. Her touch was gentle but sure, fingers tracing the torn skin with practiced care. The crackle of the fire was the only sound as we sat close, the warmth a buffer against the cold silence that settled between us. "You fought well," she murmured, her voice low yet steady. "Better than anyone expected." Her eyes searched mine, seeking something beyond the wounds and the war. I wanted to believe her, to believe that the tribe saw me as more than the outcast I'd been branded, more than the boy who fell from his serpent and brought shame upon us all. But doubts gnawed at the edges of my resolve. "I still feel like I'm falling," I admitted, the words barely above a whisper. "Like I'm not sure if I belong here, even after all this." Lyra's smile was soft but resolute. "Belonging isn't given, Kaelin. It's earned through courage, trust, and sometimes through fire. And you have all three." Her words settled over me like a balm, but before I could reply, Eldrin's voice called from the shadows beyond the firelight. The elder's figure emerged, silver hair catching sparks from the flames as he approached with measured steps. "Kaelin," Eldrin said, his eyes glowing faintly like molten lava, "the battle is won, but the war is far from over. There are forces at work you cannot yet see, forces that threaten not just our tribe, but the balance of all the skies." I stood, meeting his gaze with a mixture of respect and unease. "What do you mean?" Eldrin's expression darkened. "The Emberfang's wrath is but a spark. The true fire burns deeper, in the shadows of our world and in the hearts of those who would see Ashara divided. You must prepare not only to fight with claws and flames, but to lead with wisdom and courage beyond what you have yet known." The weight of his words sank deep. I glanced at Lyra, whose steady presence reminded me I was not alone in this fight. But even as the fire crackled and the night deepened, I knew the path ahead would test every part of me. The next day, the tension that had simmered beneath the surface boiled over during the tribal council. The great hall was crowded with elders, warriors, and riders, their faces etched with worry and suspicion. The scars of battle were fresh, and so were the doubts about my leadership. Voices rose in heated debate, some questioning the wisdom of my decisions, others wary of the rare serpent's influence. I stood at the center, heart pounding as accusations and fears were flung like sparks in the wind. He brought danger upon us all. One elder hissed, his gaze sharp. "A boy with no standing, riding a beast no one understands." "But he saved us," Lyra countered fiercely, stepping beside me. "And he fights with more courage than any of us." The hall fell into uneasy silence, eyes flickering between us. I felt the weight of every doubt, every whispered word from the past. Yet beneath it all, something stronger was stirring, a fierce determination to stand firm, to be more than the outcast, to be the leader my tribe needed. As the council continued, I realized that the battle for Ashara's skies was no longer just against Ember Fang. It was also a battle for trust, for unity, and for the very soul of our people. And I would have to rise to it, no matter the cost. That night, as the camp settled beneath the smoky stars, I found Lyra again by the fire. This time, our hands met without hesitation, a silent promise forged in the flickering light. The road ahead was uncertain, but together we would face whatever flames awaited us. And beyond the horizon, the embers of a larger storm glowed faintly, waiting, watching, ready to ignite. But I was no longer the boy who fell. I was Kalen, bonded to a rare serpent, carrying the fire of courage and the hope of a new dawn. My story was just beginning. The cavernous heart of Emberfang's volcanic fortress pulsed with an ominous heat, the air thick with the scent of sulfur and ash. Within this molten bastion, Varric stood tall, his silhouette framed by the roaring lava pit that cast a hellish glow upon his scarred visage. His fiery red eyes burned brighter than the molten rivers that coursed beneath the fortress, a mirror to the rage that had festered within him for years. Around him, the Emberfang warriors assembled in disciplined ranks, their serpents coiled and restless, scales glinting like shards of obsidian against the flickering firelight. The tribe's tension was palpable, a mixture of anticipation and raw fury. Varric's voice cut through the thick air, commanding attention with a tone both cold and commanding. "The time has come," he declared, voice echoing against the volcanic stone walls. "The Sky Serpent Riders believe they can defy us, that an outcast with a rare serpent can challenge my rule. They are fools. We will show them the true meaning of fire's wrath." His words sparked a fierce cheer, the warriors pounding their chests and raising their weapons high. Among them, Torin, the keen-eyed scout, stepped forward, his lean form shadowed beneath a hood. He relayed the latest intelligence, his voice low but urgent. "Kellen's bond with the rare serpent grows stronger, but he remains isolated. The tribe is divided, some elders wary of his rise. They prepare for the volcanic eruption festival, unaware that we plan to strike then." Varric nodded, his gaze narrowing. "Good. The festival will be their undoing. We will strike when their guard is lowest, when the skies are filled with ash and chaos." Later, in the solitude of his chamber carved from volcanic rock, Varric traced the deep scars that marred his hands. Each mark told a story of brutal tribal wars and betrayals that had shaped him into the ruthless leader he was today. His mind flickered back to the past, a childhood forged in fire and blood, a family shattered by conflict, and the relentless drive to prove his strength. "Kalen," he muttered, lips curling into a bitter smile. "You think your bond makes you strong, but strength is forged in battle, in domination. You will learn that soon enough." Outside, the Emberfang warriors sharpened their weapons with practiced precision, the metallic scrape ringing through the volcanic night. Their serpents coiled and hissed, senses alert beneath the smoky sky, ready for the decisive battle that would decide the fate of the skies above Ashara. The air was thick with the promise of war, the flames of vengeance burning brighter than ever. Varric's wrath was no longer a distant threat. It was a storm gathering on the horizon, one that would test Kellen's courage and the very bonds that held the tribes together. As the embers of the past ignited into a blazing fury, the stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the volcanic skies for generations to come. The Emberfang's wrath was unleashed, and there was no turning back. The fire within Varric was a force of destruction and ambition, a force that threatened to consume everything and everyone in its path. And at the center of it all stood Kalen, the outcast with a rare serpent bond, the spark of hope against the raging inferno. The skies of Ashara would soon tremble with the clash of wings and wills, as two fierce destinies collided in the heart of volcanic storm. The battle for the skies was about to begin. The first light of dawn crept over the volcanic ridges of Ashara, casting a molten glow that set the sky ablaze with hues of orange and red. Kalen stood at the precipice of a jagged rock outcrop, the coarse ash and stone crunching beneath his boots. His gaze was fixed on the horizon, where fiery clouds melded with the rising sun, a storm of smoke and embers swirling in the distance. The air was thick with the scent of sulfur and anticipation. Today was the day the tribe would prepare for a battle that could decide their fate, a battle against the Ember Fang and their relentless leader, Varek. The past weeks had been a whirlwind. Since bonding with the rare sky serpent, the weight of leadership had fallen heavily on Kellen's shoulders. Once the outcast, now the reluctant beacon of hope, he felt the tug of every eye watching, every whispered doubt, and every silent question about his worth. Yet beneath the pressure, a fire burned steadily within him, a flame kindled by the rare serpent's fierce spirit and the unwavering support of those around him. Kellen's training sessions had grown more intense, each flight a battle against his own fears as much as against the elements. Early that morning, he met Lyra at the training grounds, a wide plateau carved out from the volcanic rock where the tribe's riders honed their skills. The wind whipped fiercely, carrying ash across the sky and tugging at their cloaks. Their serpents, massive and sinuous, coiled like living fireflies, scales shimmering with iridescent reds, oranges, and golds, ready. Lyra called out, her voice steady but carrying an edge of excitement. Kalen nodded, tightening his grip on the reins. Always, they launched into the sky, the serpent's powerful wings beating against the sulphurous air. The world dropped away beneath them, rivers of molten lava, jagged peaks, and swirling ash clouds. Synchronizing their movements was no easy feat. It demanded complete trust and instinctual harmony. Lyra's laughter rang out, sharp and clear, cutting through the roar of the wind. "You're improving," she teased, her eyes gleaming with pride. Kalen allowed himself a rare smile, feeling the bond strengthen between rider and serpent, between him and his tribe. "Thanks to you." After hours of aerial drills, they returned to the ground, hearts pounding and muscles burning. The day's light waned as the tribe gathered around the central fire pit. Eldrin awaited them, a figure carved from the very essence of Ashara, his silver hair glinting in the firelight and eyes glowing like molten lava. His presence commanded silence, and the flickering flames cast dancing shadows over his weathered face. "The serpents have watched over these lands longer than any tribe," Eldrin began, his voice low and resonant. "They are more than beasts. They are the keepers of balance." The rare serpent bonded to Kalen carries a power ancient and immense. It is a symbol and a warning. Murmurs rippled through the gathered riders. Some faces shone with hope, others shadowed with doubt. "We stand on the edge of the firestorm," Eldrin continued. "But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the flame that burns brightest in its presence." Kalen met Eldrin's gaze, feeling the weight of the elder's words settle within him. The fire crackled, sparks spiraling upward as if carrying their resolve to the gods of the volcanic skies. That night, the tribe convened in the Great Hall, carved from obsidian. Torches lined the walls, throwing dancing light over the tense faces of leaders and warriors alike. Kalen stepped forward, his heart hammering, but his voice clear and steady. "We cannot let fear fracture us," he declared. "The Ember Fangs seek to break our spirit and claim these skies. But together, we are stronger. Our serpents are not just our wings. They are our bond, our family. We will face the firestorm as one." Some nodded, others exchanged wary glances. The road to unity was still fragile, But a seed had been planted. Kellen's words stirred a cautious hope, a flicker of trust that maybe, just maybe, he could lead them through the coming darkness. As the meeting ended, Lyra approached, her eyes searching his. "You've changed, Kellen. You're not just surviving anymore. You're leading. I believe in you." Her words settled like a balm over old wounds, igniting a courage that had long been buried beneath doubt and shame. Outside, the volcanic winds howled, carrying the promise of storm and fire. The battle was coming, and Kellen was ready to face it, not as an outcast, but as the tribe's fire-branded leader. The skies of Ashara would soon roar with the clash of serpents and steel. But in the heart of the firestorm, Kellen would find his true strength. And the journey was just beginning. The sky above Ashara darkened as the volcanic ash swirled like a living tempest, casting ominous shadows over the jagged peaks that cradled the tribes below. The air was thick with smoke and the electric charge of impending conflict. From the heart of the Sky Serpent Rider's stronghold, I looked up, my rare serpent's scales shimmering faintly beneath the choking clouds, his breath a low rumble against the roar of the volcano. "This is it," Lyra's voice crackled in my ear, steady despite the tension. We had trained and prepared for this moment, yet the weight of what lay ahead pressed down harder than any ashfall. The Ember Fang were coming, led by Varek, a man whose fiery rage matched the molten rivers that flowed through Ashara's bones. The first signs of their arrival were distant cries and the flapping of massive wings that stirred the thickened air. One by one, serpents appeared, their forms cutting through the smoke like streaks of shadow and flame. My heart hammered, but beneath it bloomed a fierce, unfamiliar courage, the fire within that Eldrin had spoken of, the spark that had kindled the bond between me and my serpent. "Hold steady," Eldrin's calm voice echoed in my mind, a beacon amid the chaos. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the will to face it. I tightened my grip on the leather reins, feeling the serpent's muscles coil beneath me in anticipation. Varek emerged through the haze, his scarred face set in a grim mask, eyes blazing with the same fury that had ignited countless battles. His serpent, a monstrous creature of black and crimson scales, bellowed a challenge that reverberated across the volcanic cliffs. With a roar, the battle erupted. Serpents collided in mid-air, wings beating the heavy smoke, talons flashing like lightning. I plunged forward, weaving through the chaos, the rare serpent's instincts guiding us with precision. The air was alive with the crackle of fire. Emberfang warriors unleashed blasts of blazing breath, their flames painting streaks of orange and red against the darkened sky. Varek met me head-on, their serpents circling in a deadly spiral above a chasm that spewed molten rock below. His voice cut through the din. "You think you can challenge me, outcast? This sky belongs to the strong." I answered not with words, but action. Calling upon the bond forged in silence and trial, I urged my serpent into a swift dive. The rare serpent's breath ignited in brilliant arcs, a cascade of brilliant flames that roared like a second sun, forcing Varek's serpent to wheel away, scorched but not subdued. The battle raged, each clash a blur of sensation, the heat of fire against my face, the smell of sulfur and ash, the deafening roar of wings and battle cries. I felt every muscle strain, every heartbeat racing against the ticking clock of survival. Lyra was close, her voice a steady drum of encouragement and tactical commands, her presence a lifeline in the maelstrom. As we spiraled higher, the sky above the volcano pulsed with molten light, the very air trembling with the power of the Earth's fury. I could see the desperation in Varek's eyes, the cracks in his once unyielding facade. The rare serpent and I pushed beyond limits I had never imagined, flames dancing from our breaths in a deadly ballet of fire and flight. With a final desperate surge, I unleashed a torrent of flame that engulfed Varek's serpent, forcing it into a retreat that echoed across the battlefield. The Ember Fang faltered, their formation breaking as their leader's power waned. Breathing hard, I hovered in the aftermath, the volcanic winds whipping ash into my eyes. Around us, the Sky Serpent riders rallied, their spirits lifted by the sight of our triumph. A victory won not just by strength, but by the fierce courage kindled in the heart of an outcast. But as the glow of battle faded, I knew this was only the beginning. Varek's fire still burned, and the skies of Ashara would not rest until the last ember faded. Yet in that moment, as the rare serpent coiled beneath me, flames licking the edges of the horizon, I felt something new: belonging, hope, and the unbreakable bonds forged in the winds of war. The battle was won, but the war for Ashara's skies was far from over, and I would be ready. The volcanic winds howled as the tribes circled warily, the echoes of the brutal battle reverberating through the ash-filled air. My gaze locked with Varek's one last time, a silent vow passing between us. The skies of Ashara were alive with fire, and so was I. The winds of war had shifted, but the story of flight, fire, and courage was far from finished. I tightened my hold on the reins, feeling the rare serpent's heartbeat beneath me, steady and strong. Ahead lay the uncertain path of what was to come, but for the first time, I faced it not as an outcast, but as a rider of the skies, a bearer of fire, and a beacon of hope. The battle had tested us all, but it had also transformed us. And as the first light of dawn broke through the smoky veil, painting the volcanic peaks with hues of gold and crimson, I knew one thing with certainty: I would never fly alone again. The winds of war had carried us through fire and fury, but they would also carry us toward a future forged in courage and flame. The roar of the volcanic winds was deafening as Kalen gripped the reins of his rare Sky Serpent, the creature's scales shimmering like molten glass beneath the fiery sky. Around him, the clash of serpents echoed a brutal symphony of battle cries, the beat of giant wings, and the sharp crackle of fire erupting from the volcano's fury. Kellen's heart hammered in his chest, but beneath the chaos, a calm began to anchor him. This was the moment he had been running towards all his life, the moment to face not only his enemy, but the shadows that had haunted him since his fall years ago. His serpent twisted through the thick ash-laden air, wings slicing through smoke and flame. The memories surged unbidden, the sting of the fall, the shame of the tribe's rejection, the sting of isolation. But louder than those memories was the steady voice of Lyra, her words like a beacon in the storm. "You are not alone, Kalen. Remember who you are. Remember the fire inside you." He glanced over to see Lyra riding close, her own serpent cutting through the sky with fierce grace. Her eyes met his, sharp and unwavering, and in that glance, Kalen found the strength to push back the dark doubt clawing at his mind. "I won't let you down," he whispered, though the words were for himself more than her. Above the roar, Eldrin's voice echoed in his memory, a quiet chant from the Elder's teachings. The flame that burns within does not consume, it transforms. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. Kalen drew a deep breath, the acrid scent of sulfur filling his lungs, and felt the flame within him kindle anew. His serpent responded, muscles tensing, wings beating with renewed vigor. Varek was ahead, a towering figure atop his own fiery serpent, eyes glowing with ruthless intent. The enemy leader charged, a blazing spear of flame trailing behind him. The two serpents collided mid-air, scales scraping like thunderclaps. Kellen's rare serpent twisted beneath the attack, narrowly escaping the searing blast. The heat was intense, but Kellen's focus sharpened, every movement precise and deliberate. He was no longer the frightened boy from the youth ceremony. He was a rider bonded to a creature of legend, fueled by courage and the unbreakable bonds forged through fire and trial. With a surge of determination, Kalen commanded his serpent upward, spiraling around Varek's charge, and slashing with the serpent's razor-like tail. The strike caught Varrock off guard, forcing him to falter. The tide of battle shifted as Kalen pressed the advantage, weaving between fire and smoke with deft agility. The sky seemed to burn brighter as Kalen's confidence soared. Memories of his fall no longer chained him, but propelled him forward. He was the heart of the flame, a beacon against the darkness threatening to consume them all. For Ashara, Lyra's cry rang out beside him, their serpents moving as one in a dazzling display of unity and strength. Varrock's furious roar echoed, but the fire in Kellen's eyes was fiercer. The battle was far from over, but in that moment, Kalen knew he had crossed a threshold. His courage was no longer shadowed by doubt. It blazed with the power to change their fate. As the volcanic sky roared around them, Kellen's voice rose above the chaos in a rallying cry, not just to his tribe, but to himself. We fly as one. The chapter closes as Kellen's serpent dives toward Varrock, wings slicing through the glowing ash, a living flame challenging the darkness, a symbol of hope and defiance in a world forged by fire.